Now, I want to start your day with some really good news. It's not surprising news, but I can never say it quite enough. There has never been a better time to have been born a woman, at least in our country, in the place where we live and work, and many of us live and work. And here's some more good news. We can take the privilege and the responsibility and make sure that that reality and that good news is true for every woman and girl, because so many of them are still born in places where the news is quite different, where the reality for them to realize their potential is very limited. What we have, what we can aspire to, personal happiness and professional fulfillment, those are not even possibilities for millions of others. And that matters. It matters to them, of course, but it also matters to us. Because we are the ones with the power, and with that power comes responsibility. I'm going to talk more about the responsibility part after you've had another sip of coffee. But my purpose this morning is to sound a clarion call. I want to talk about the huge opportunity, and in my opinion, the even bigger responsibility, to seize our power, to seize this good news and the privileges that come with it, and to create a future that we want for ourselves, that we want for our children and grandchildren. It's 11, by the way, now. To shape a future that we believe must be possible for every woman and girl on this planet. Now, that's a lot to take in so early in the morning. I feel an urgency about it based on many years of watching our progress go far too slowly. It's time now for all of us as accomplished, successful women to use every opportunity like this when we get together to learn from each other, to listen to each other's stories, and in doing so, to more fully understand the challenges that we face. Yes, there's still many, but to more fully understand the challenges that remain for so many others, and to understand then more fully what we individually and collectively can do to come up with new approaches to problem solving. Goodness knows we have enough of them. To support a new model of leadership. That will move us closer to a world where being born a woman anywhere can come with the freedoms necessary and the opportunities to pursue happiness and fulfillment. So let's begin with what we have. Two big assets, media and money. What you have in those beautiful designer bags I see sitting by your chairs, and what you're holding in your hand, probably out of sight so that you can check emails and text and tweet during this talk. They are the two most powerful assets any generation of women ever had. There is more wealth in the hands of women than there has ever been at any time in history. We are moving very fast on a trajectory toward owning and controlling 40% of the wealth in the world, mostly in the West and in the East, and certainly not in the global South. So is this wealth making us more powerful as well as more prosperous? That's a question I want us to think about. And then we have media, the media and technology that is more transformative, more influential, more powerful than it has ever been before. Let's just take the mobile phones, the mobile technology I referred to, transformative in ways that are making it possible now not only for us to be connected to our work, our families, anytime, anywhere, they're making it possible to change lives. In rural Afghanistan, for example, babies are no longer dying in childbirth, and neither are their mothers. In the places where women have been given mobile phones and can text to physicians who are looking at their scans taken by those same mobile phones and texting back to them critical, life-saving information. Yes, those same mobile phones that you and I are tweeting about where we meet for coffee. We tweet more important things too. But mobile phones equipped in the Congo with alert buttons and GPS mapping systems are quite literally saving lives. because there women and girls have to go into the woods to collect the fire that cooks the food. And when they're in the woods, they're vulnerable to the rebel forces that are raping one woman every 20 minutes in the Democratic Republic of Congo. But these mobile phones allow the women who have these specially equipped ones to hit an alert button. It immediately alerts all the other women in the woods as to where the rebel forces are. And their location is mapped on the GPS system, powered by Yashashidi, a new platform developed by a wonderful young couple. So these smartphones are saving lives. In Kenya, mobile phones are being used by women farmers to collect accurate payments through the mobile banking that records the exact amount of the coffee or the beans, tea that they delivered to market instead of the way they were cheated before, that then takes their mobile phone to the bank and their money goes directly into their deposit. Kenya could become the first cashless society on earth. Kenyan women farmers are leading a revolution toward more transparency and accuracy and accountability. When I witness these uses of mobile technologies, which I've been privileged to do around the world, and I see the way that phones and the internet and all the technologies, and by the way, old media too, like radio, when it's in the hands of women, they do so many powerful things with it. And then I can't help but question, are we doing all that we can? Are we doing more than just tweeting and talking to each other and keeping in touch? It's not surprising that the women in the most disconnected, the most neglected communities in the world are seizing the power of media and making and using it for positive change. Think about how big our media power is in comparison. Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, just to name 3 successful social media sites, were all created by men, yes, but now they run because of the loyalty of women. More than half of Facebook's nearly 1 billion subscribers are women. 56% of all Twitterers are women, and 70% of Pinterest users are women. Women spend 25 hours a month online. We account for 60% of all e-commerce dollars. We're the target audience for every major internet site and advertiser. Yahoo's new CEO, Marissa Mayer, recently said in this month's Fortune, Yahoo has to think pink. Marissa had a baby boy, by the way. In case you're wondering about the most publicized pregnancy since Congresswoman Pat Schroeder. Now, many of you are too young to remember Congresswoman Pat Schroeder. She was elected to Congress in the early 70s, and I still love the story that when she arrived pregnant for her swearing in, the congressman who was swearing her in questioned whether or not she should actually have run for office and had shown up to serve in Congress since she was pregnant. And she answered him saying, "Yes, sir, you are so right to observe that I have a uterus. I also have a brain, and gratefully they work at the same time." Well, very much has changed since that statement made headlines. But the recent press about Marissa Mayer and whether she should or shouldn't have taken this job, whether the board should or shouldn't have hired her, how long will her maternity leave be, how much will that affect the way other women in Yahoo are treated, all of these debated endlessly in the press because she took a very big job while becoming a mother for the first time. Yes, this can we have it all debate has risen again. Can our brains and uteruses work together, and can we find happiness and fulfillment as mothers and professionals? As Edith said, I tire of this debate. I tire seeing us spend endless, valuable hours in situations and conferences like this, arguing over whether we can balance briefcases, babies, and bring home the bacon too. That argument is as old as that commercial. Of course we can. We are doing it all over the world. It's distracting and futile to discuss whether we can. Wouldn't it just be smarter and more productive to talk about how we can get to better outcomes better policies in the marketplace that will make it easier for women to have both a professional life and personal fulfillment and not even have to think about having it all, to find a way to balance. And what's generating this debate often is not so much women's guilt or feelings of failure, even though we are set up to have both in the way most businesses are set up. And every working mother I know feels both at some time or the other. I certainly did. There are just too many conflicts that exist in our current structures. But it's well documented now. We don't need to debate it. We know that companies who offer family-friendly policies like flex time, job sharing, generous parental leave have less absenteeism, higher retention rates for women executives and male executives as well, and in most cases, they have more women making it to the ranks of leadership. I urge you to talk with Gabby Sedlmeier, who's traveled all the way from Germany at my invitation to be here at this conference, because Gabby, in her job, is transforming HP into a company that recognizes this. Talk to the women who work for her. They don't feel guilt. They don't feel failure because the company is adjusting. The ones who are fortunate enough to be in Gabby's province are benefiting, and so is the company. We do have better solutions. We can offer women options other than opting out, or taking your foot off the pedal, as COO of Facebook, Sheryl Sandberg, likes to phrase it. We don't need to take the exit ramp just as we're getting to our destination. Better solutions have to come from us. Women who are the bosses have to make different policies. Women who are the consumers have to demand that the products made by the companies they buy also recognize the need to make the workplace family-friendly. Do you know if the companies you support have family-friendly policies? Do you know if they offer flex time, job sharing, equitable family leave? It's usually in the annual reports, and it's certainly in the media. More than 2/3 of the working population are working mothers. More than 2/3. Can we really afford to talk about the challenges they face trying to be good mothers and successful, or isn't it in everyone's interest to make sure they can be better at both? The New York Times estimates that 45% of women are taking the off-ramp, 45%, just as they get close to the top. This means, by the way, they're taking it, as they say, because of child care challenges, and this exodus is 1,400 women every day, leaving good jobs to pursue a better balance between work and family. Some are becoming successful entrepreneurs. We're good at that, and that's great to have that as an option. But all of this is having a profound impact on companies now who are hesitating to invest in women, worrying that they might leave, and worrying about the impact, which is so clearly visible with the lack of women who are making it all the way to the top, where we need them to be. Less than 8 of the top corporate jobs in this country are held by women. Less than 8.